here we are back home from our first big family vacation with the 18-foot bumper pull Zinger camper behind the F-150 Lightning extended range. We did a total of 2,847 miles and averaged 1.2 miles per kilowatt hour, which isn't terrible. Now, some of that time was unhooked from the camper at different destinations. We went from up by Minot, North Dakota here, down to Pierre and over to Mount Rushmore. We couldn't come straight down because there wasn't enough chargers for the range I have with the camper hooked up. So we had to go through Bismarck to Pierre and then cut over from Pierre over to Rapid City area. So anyways, that being said, some time was unhooked driving around exploring Mount Rushmore or any of our other destinations. We went from South Dakota area all the way over to Cedar Rapids and then up into the southern Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin area, and then all the way back home. Anyways, 95% of the miles of this 2,800 miles was hooked to the camper, going anywhere between 50 to 60 miles an hour to get the range we needed to make it to the chargers we needed, which usually we were stopping about every 80 miles for anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes, which sounds terrible at first, but probably added maybe a day and a half to the total travel time. Here's the list of all of our charges, not necessarily in order, but the total paid was $677.27. And I have already done the math. If we did those miles with my pickup, getting 10 miles to the gallon with the camper, which is generous, but I did pretty good here too. I usually average 1, which ain't great. Anyways, if gas was $3 a gallon average across the entire trip, that would have been about $850. So I actually thought charging was going to be more expensive than gas. It still came cheaper, especially if fuel was more than $3 a gallon along the way. So, and of this, I just noticed 93 hours of on time on this trip. It's completely jacked up my range-o-meter here. Unhooked, it says I have 135. I can't wait to reset this trip, but not quite yet. Along the way, there was only one major snafu, and that was going from the Pierre, South Dakota area over to Wall and to Rapid City. There's a town called Mordeaux in between there that had a charger that I didn't know was down. At the time, I didn't know in the app you can check to see if these chargers are functioning or not. Learning process. Anyways, because of that, I was counting on that charger. I drove 65 because on the highway interstate in South Dakota, the speed I think was 85. I have a slow-moving vehicle flasher on the camper just to warn people I'm going slower than normal, but I didn't want to be going 50-55 to make it from Pierre all the way to Wall, which I could have done if I went 50. Anyways, I didn't go 50, and I got to Mordeaux, and the charger was down. So we had to go nice and slow down a frontage road to a town in between the down charger and Wall, and I found a campground where the owner was nice enough to let us charge for $20 for a couple hours. In the meantime, I hooked up the black water line, drained our tanks, everybody took a hot shower, and filled up our fresh water tank with fresh water, and was on our way with 20 extra miles or so to get us what we needed to the fast charger. That was along the way. Other than that, no concerns of getting from one place to the other. If we had been fighting wind from Jamestown to Bismarck on our way back, we would have had to hit a campground for sure as a charge point, because we were going 100 and some plus miles, which is the maximum range I'm willing to run this thing with the camper, because I will not die on the side of the highway. But so yeah, all in all, it was a pleasant 2-week vacation. We hit all of these destinations along the way. Some of them were more expensive than others, some were dirt cheap. Iowa is really cheap to charge in. I had one that was actually $1.50. I didn't even bother putting it on here. But there was also a lot of free charging in there. I have an adapter that allows me to turn a welder outlet into a 50 amp plug. So staying at a farm, camping in Iowa, I was able to charge for free there. And there was a lot of free chargers everywhere up in South Dakota. Anywhere you went, Mount Rushmore, the little shops downtown in those little touristy towns all had free chargers around that you could hook up to while you were exploring, which was pretty nice. But yeah, not hard by any means. I wouldn't say it was terribly easy, took a little bit of planning. But anybody who would tell you that traveling in the middle of middle America with a camper and an EV pickup just doesn't know what they're talking about. It wasn't hard. It was fun for me. There was some concerns here or there, but with proper planning, no big deal. So yeah, let's reset this trip here finally so I can, hopefully my range-o-meter gets back to normal. She's all confused from pulling a camper for 2,800 miles. And no, it still says 135 miles of range. But anyways, a couple days of driving and hopefully that'll get back to normal. With a 75%, I should be able to get well over 200 miles. And with that being said, yeah, that's it. That was our grand tour from North Dakota all the way over to here, all the way over to here, up to here and over there, with a Ford Lightning pickup, fast charging every 80 miles or so along the way. I haven't counted all the stops, but there was quite a few. But honestly, with my old truck, I'd be stopping maybe half as much with the old F-150 with the 4.3 Triton that I had, or 5.4. Anyways, that's it.